Brother, let me tell you a truth most men never hear until it's too late. When a woman first walks away, she doesn't miss you, not in the way your heart hopes, and not in the way your pride imagines. In those first flashes of freedom, she feels almost weightless, as if she's stepped out of a story she convinced herself she had outgrown. She tells herself she's entering a world full of brighter nights, better men, and endless possibility. But here's the part she never sees coming. The noise she uses to outrun the silence is borrowed. It can't hold, it can't last, and it can't save her from what happens next. She fills her days with movement, with friends, with scrolling, with faces that mean nothing. From the outside she looks alive, but from the inside, she's running from the quiet, running from the question she's not ready to face, running from the truth every woman eventually meets when the world goes silent again. And that's the twist, brother. Because the silence she thinks she escaped is already on its way back to her. Start this journey now. Like this video to anchor your strength. Subscribe to Stoic Station for clarity that doesn't fade. And in the comments, brother, tell me where you stand today. Drop a 1 if a part of you still hopes she'll return. Drop a 2 if you're choosing the man you're becoming instead. Because what happens next, the moment her routine finally breaks, changes everything. 1. The moment routine breaks her. Brother, the moment she actually starts missing you for real never arrives with fireworks. It doesn't show up as a dramatic breakdown or a sudden confession of regret. It begins in the smallest, quietest fracture of her daily rhythm, so subtle she almost convinces herself it means nothing. But the truth is, that tiny shift is the first real warning that her mind is no longer as steady as she pretends. You think she's fine because she looks fine, posting photos, laughing with friends, keeping herself endlessly occupied. But that's the trap. Routine is the perfect camouflage for a heart that hasn't caught up with reality yet. Routines hide the truth until the truth finally breaks through. She wakes up one morning and grabs her phone without thinking. It's instinct, the same instinct she once had when you were part of her life every day. But today, there's no message waiting, no calm reassurance, no simple, "Morning, you okay?" that used to ground her before she even got out of bed. She tells herself it's normal now, that this is exactly the life she chose. But that lie doesn't land the way it used to. Something feels missing, not loud, not painful, just wrong. At first, she brushes it off with the simplest excuse. He's probably busy. But her mind notices what her pride refuses to acknowledge: the missing pattern, the missing presence, the missing feeling. She expects you to snap back into orbit because you always did. You always showed up. You always made the effort. And now that you don't, something deeper inside her begins to panic in a way she can't explain. This time, your silence doesn't feel like a pause. It feels like a question, one she can't silence no matter how hard she tries. Why isn't he here? It circles in her chest longer than she wants, stirring an uneasiness she didn't prepare for. Your silence interrupts the autopilot she used to rely on. It forces her to confront the very absence she once swore she wouldn't feel, and that confrontation shakes something loose inside her. And brother, that's the shift. That quiet, invisible crack in her routine becomes the first moment she misses you. Not the old version she took for granted, but the version she never believed she could lose. And what happens after this moment only cuts deeper. Because once routine breaks, the real unraveling begins. 2. The instant her mind feels the void. Brother, the second blow always cuts deeper than the first, because this is when she doesn't just notice you're gone, she feels it. And feeling it is a very different kind of truth. This is the moment her mind stops lying to her, The moment she can no longer hide behind distractions, noise, or pride. Women rarely admit this, even to themselves, but your presence was regulating her emotions far more than she ever understood. You weren't just in her life. You were the quiet rhythm beneath it, the steady background music that made everything else feel balanced, grounded, and safe. Your attention did something she never gave you credit for. It created emotional stability. It wasn't loud, it wasn't dramatic, it wasn't even something she consciously thought about, but it was there. Every check-in, every thoughtful message, every calm response, every moment where you showed up without needing to be asked. It was all part of the soundtrack she lived her life to. It made her feel worthy. It made her feel desired. It made her feel like she mattered. And she got used to that feeling in the same way people get used to breathing. They don't appreciate it until the air disappears. But now, brother, the music stops, and the silence that replaces it isn't peaceful. It's cold, it's unfamiliar, it's unsettling. Suddenly, she doesn't have your admiration to retreat into when her insecurities whisper in the dark. She doesn't have your validation to make her feel beautiful on the days she feels invisible. She doesn't have your warmth to soften the edges of her mood when life becomes too heavy to carry alone. You were her stabilizing force, even if she pretended she didn't need one, and now that force is gone. This is where the first real discomfort begins. Not longing, not regret, but disorientation. She loses the emotional mirror she once relied on, the reflection of herself she used to find in your steady presence. Without that mirror, she feels off-center, unsure of herself in a way she hasn't felt in years. By stepping back, you remove the emotional oxygen she assumed she'd always have access to. She thought she was fine without you, but emotional oxygen doesn't announce when it leaves you breathless. And this, brother, is the instant the void enters. Quiet, invisible, unavoidable. She realizes life without you isn't neutral. It's unbalanced, uneven, lacking the invisible structure she only now sees you were providing. And what follows this realization only becomes heavier, because once the void settles in, the mind begins searching for who used to fill it. 3. The day. Another man can't replace you. Brother, every woman convinces herself she can replace you until the day life hands her a truth she never expected to face. It always starts with confidence, even arrogance. There are plenty of men out there. And for a moment, she believes it. Rebounds feel powerful in the beginning. They come wrapped in novelty, attention, excitement, and the illusion that moving on is simply a matter of choosing someone new. They disguise themselves as solutions. But real solutions don't crumble this fast, and they don't expose emptiness this quickly. So she meets someone new. He's exciting in the way unfamiliar things always are. He's attentive because he wants to impress. He's eager because he doesn't know her yet. In the beginning, he feels like the cure, someone who can drown out the silence you left behind, someone who can make her forget the steadiness she once took for granted. For a brief time, she lets herself believe he's everything she needed, but slowly and predictably, the cracks begin to show. He doesn't understand her rhythms. He doesn't notice the quiet shifts in her mood the way you did. He doesn't steady her when her emotions surge. Instead, he gets rattled or reactive. He talks more than he listens, filling the space with noise rather than presence. And while he brings energy, excitement, and attention, what he doesn't bring is peace. And peace, brother, is what she didn't realize she valued until it disappeared. Then comes the moment she never planned for, the moment reality interrupts her denial. She's sitting across from him at dinner. He's talking about himself again. And without meaning to, without wanting to, without even being able to stop it, she compares. She compares the way you listened, not just to respond, but to understand. She compares the way you stayed calm when she spiraled, the way your presence grounded her storms. She compares the feeling of safety she had with you, the quiet trust she never acknowledged but always relied on. She hears his jokes, she forces a smile, she laughs at the right times. But something inside her feels hollow, disconnected, off, and that hollow space. Brother, that's where you used to be. It's the emotional seat only a man with real depth can fill. It's the presence only a calm, grounded man can provide. And it's the space she assumed anyone could replace, until she realizes how wrong she was. This is the beginning of a truth she can't escape, no matter how hard she tries to distract herself. She wanted attention, she thought admiration was enough, and she believed the rush of someone new would overshadow what she lost. But now she sees the one thing she never expected to see. It wasn't the attention that mattered. It was the stability behind it, the steadiness, the emotional structure, the calm leadership. And those things can't be faked, copied, or replaced by a man who only knows how to impress, not protect. And once this realization hits, everything changes for her. This is the day she finally understands a truth she was never ready to face. Not every man is replaceable, and the man she assumed she could replace easily is the one she can't stop remembering. What happens after this day only cuts deeper, because once comparison begins, brother, it never stops. 4. The night ordinary memories hit hard. Brother, longing doesn't begin with fireworks or dramatic realizations. It never starts with the big romantic gestures she once claimed to care about. It begins in the smallest, simplest moments, the ones she overlooked, dismissed, or treated as ordinary when she had you. And the truth is, the ordinary moments are the ones that cut the deepest when they return. She didn't miss the flowers or the fancy dates or the polished photos. What she actually misses, often against her will, is the man who made her feel safe, grounded, and understood in a world that rarely offers any of those things. It always hits her during the quiet hours, when the noise that kept her distracted finally settles. It happens when she's walking to her car alone after a long day, when her own footsteps are the only sound reminding her she's no longer walking beside someone who cared. It happens when she comes home exhausted, and there's no voice asking how her day went, no presence calming her, no subtle reassurance that she doesn't have to carry everything by herself. And it happens most brutally when she lies awake while the world sleeps, when the stillness becomes a mirror, and memories slip through the cracks she tries so hard to seal. A memory sneaks in, small, soft, familiar, not dramatic, not cinematic, just real. She's brushing her teeth one night, looking at herself in the mirror. Nothing special, nothing emotional, nothing that should mean anything. But out of nowhere, she remembers the way you gently check on her whenever she seemed tired, the way your voice softened without effort, the way your presence steadied the parts of her she never admitted were shaky, and that simple, ordinary moment, something she once treated like background noise, collapses her composure in a way she never saw coming. Because these tiny memories carry a weight she can't escape. They return without warning, without permission, and without mercy. They hit harder than any argument you ever had, harder than any apology she never gave, harder than any illusion she tried to build to convince herself she didn't need you. And they hurt in ways she never expected, because they reveal something she didn't want to face. The things she dismissed were the very things she now aches for. Each small memory whispers the same painful truth. What I thought was ordinary was rare. Your silence, brother, is what allows these realizations to rise to the surface. You're not pushing, you're not performing, you're not even present, and that absence gives the truth room to breathe. She finally sees what she never saw when she had constant access to you. And that understanding, born from the quiet moments she once ignored, becomes impossible to escape. This is the night missing. You stops being logical and becomes emotional. It becomes visceral. It becomes something she can't debate with herself, something she can't silence, something she can't outrun. And once longing becomes emotional, it only grows stronger because the next moments that follow strike even deeper. 5. The second she knows you let go. Brother, there's a moment every woman secretly fears, a moment she never admits out loud, even to herself. It's not the breakup. It's not the days after. It's not even the silence at first. It's the exact second she realizes you aren't waiting anymore. That second hits her harder than anything you ever said, anything she ever did, or any distance she once thought she could handle. For so long, she believed she still had access to you, even when she pulled away, even when she acted cold, even when she chose distance over connection. Deep down, she carried a quiet confidence. He'll come back. He always does. That belief was her safety net, her invisible leverage, her unspoken reassurance that no matter how far she wandered, you were still orbiting her world. But silence, when you don't break it, becomes something she never expected: clarity. She checks her phone in the morning. Nothing. She scrolls your name at night. Still nothing. She posts subtle signals, hoping you'll react. She waits for the familiar pattern, you reaching out first. And the pattern never returns. No check-ins, no orbiting, no breadcrumbs, just silence with a different weight. The kind that says you're no longer tied to her storyline. Your absence stops feeling like hesitation and starts feeling like transformation. That's the moment her confidence cracks. The moment she whispers the one sentence her pride fears more than heartbreak: he might actually be over me. And brother, that thought shakes her. Not because she misses attention. Any man can give attention. Not because she misses validation. That fades fast. What hits her is the realization that she may have lost the one man who showed up with calm, consistency, and real depth, and that she didn't recognize his value until he stopped offering it. You stepped out of her gravitational pull and into your own life. And when she sees that shift, that steady, unbothered evolution, panic turns into true missing, not missing your messages, not missing your energy, missing you, the man she assumed she'd never lose. And once that truth lands, she can't outrun it. 6. The hour. Freedom feels like punishment. Brother, she once celebrated her freedom like it was a prize she earned, a fresh start, a breath of air, a new life waiting on the other side of you. But freedom has a way of revealing its true face when the excitement fades, and the hour she actually starts missing you for real is the moment that freedom stops feeling liberating and starts feeling like punishment. In the beginning, it feels intoxicating. The parties, the late nights, the friends telling her she made the right choice, the endless distractions that make her feel untouchable. But every high has a come down, and she never expected hers to hit with this much force. Weeks pass, then months. She's out late, laughing loud, filling her schedule with noise, so she never has to hear what's happening inside her own heart. She posts like she's glowing, smiles like she's thriving, and pretends she doesn't remember how peaceful life felt when she had someone who genuinely cared. But eventually, brother, the noise fades. The friends go home. The night ends. The city quiets. And that's when she is left alone with the one thing she's been running from the entire time: herself. And on one of those nights, when she finally lies in bed without anything left to distract her, it all hits at once. The empty room that once stored your presence now feels colder than she remembers. The empty phone that used to buzz with your messages now feels heavier than it should. And the empty confidence, the confidence she believed would grow once she broke free, now feels like it's been scraped bare. She realizes the truth she never wanted to face. She didn't just lose you. She lost the version of herself she was when you were beside her. Freedom begins to feel less like liberation and more like exile. Banishment from the safety, the grounding, the quiet emotional structure you once provided without her even noticing. She wanted space. She fought for space. She swore space would make her happier, stronger, more in control. But now space is the very thing crushing her chest, pressing down on her in the dark, forcing her to confront a reality she never prepared for. Your silence, brother, is the teacher here. It forces her to face the truth she refused to see. Independence without emotional grounding is just loneliness, dressed up as liberation. She called it freedom when she walked away, but now she realizes freedom without the right person beside you is just isolation with prettier filters. And this exact hour in the quiet, with her thoughts swirling and her pride cracking, is when she learns her freedom cost her more than she expected, and far more than she can bear. And what follows this realization only pulls her deeper into the truth she tried so hard not to feel. 7. The morning her expectations collapse. Brother, every woman tells herself the same comforting story after a breakup, that finding someone else will be easy, that something better is waiting just a few steps ahead, that moving on is simply replacing one man with the next. And for a while, that story protects her. It shields her pride, fuels her confidence, and convinces her she made the right choice. But there is always a morning, quiet, ordinary, unavoidable, when that story finally collapses under the weight of reality. She wakes up and the truth hits without warning. The world is full of men, but very few are built like you. Suddenly, every man she meets feels wrong in ways she never anticipated. They're too chaotic, too shallow, too reactive, too loud. They can't read her emotional shifts. They can't hold space when she's overwhelmed. They mistake intensity for connection, but crumble the moment life gets real. She tries to shake the feeling off, tries to blame the dates, the timing, the chemistry, but the pattern only grows clearer. And each time a conversation falls flat. Each time a moment lacks depth. Each time she realizes another man can't meet her emotional weight. She feels that sting in her chest. Not the sting of missing attention. The world is full of attention. This is the sting of recognizing what she lost. Every failed connection whispers a truth she fought hard to avoid. You were the stability she didn't know she needed. Because what she misses now isn't the thrill, the chase, or the validation. It's the grounding presence you carried naturally, the emotional steadiness she assumed was normal because she'd never seen life without it, the calm leadership she dismissed because she believed every man had it. But now she's seen enough to know your steadiness wasn't ordinary, it was rare. And that's the morning her expectations collapse under their own weight. Not because you argued, not because you tried to prove anything, but because your silence, your discipline, and your refusal to chase let reality do the teaching for you. This is the morning she realizes she didn't just lose a man, she lost the standard dash. And every man after you only makes that truth harder to escape. 8. The minute longing turns into craving. Brother, longing is gentle. It tugs, it whispers, it lingers in the background. But craving is violent. Craving is when her mind stops pretending she's fine and starts fighting itself. This is the moment everything shifts, not gradually but sharply, like a switch flipping inside her chest. You see, your presence once fed her emotionally in ways she never fully understood. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't loud. It was a rhythm, steady, predictable, grounding, and her nervous system adjusted to that rhythm without her permission. She built comfort around it, security around it, identity around it. But now that rhythm is gone. No replies, no warmth, no access, no predictability. Your silence becomes a new environment she cannot decode. And here's the part most men don't realize. The female brain, like any human brain, is addicted to patterns. Predictability creates safety. But unpredictability? That creates desire. Biological, psychological, chemical. The moment she can't predict you anymore, her mind begins to chase. She doesn't call it craving yet. She'll call it curiosity, or concern, or just wondering how he's doing. But her behavior exposes the truth long before her words do. She starts checking your status late at night. She looks at your socials even when she swears she doesn't care. She casually asks mutual friends what you've been up to. She searches for signs that you still think about her. Anything, everything. Because craving doesn't seek closeness. Craving seeks relief. And right now, the only relief her mind wants is certainty about you. Something you're no longer offering. Your silence is doing what men often try and fail to do with words. It's rewiring her desire. The very thing she thought she had control over is now slipping through her fingers. You become the unanswered question her mind keeps circling back to. You become the unresolved story her pride can't close. You become the uncertainty she needs to resolve, not because she planned to, but because craving makes her feel like she has no choice. And this is the minute, brother, the exact minute where missing becomes obsession, where the emotional burn turns chemical, where wanting to hear from you becomes needing to, and once craving begins, it doesn't fade, it escalates. And from here, what rises inside her only gets stronger, sharper, and far harder for her to hide. 9. The night. Her guilt finally breaks through. Brother, nothing hits a woman harder than the night she finally realizes this truth. She misjudged a good man, and she may never get him back. It doesn't happen during the chaos or the arguments or the breakup itself. It arrives quietly, like a shadow crossing her room when she's finally still enough to face what she's been avoiding. Pride protected her for months, convincing her she did the right thing, that she was strong for walking away, that you would always be there if she ever needed you again. But pride has an expiration date, and on this night, she can no longer outrun the guilt knocking at her door. The room is silent. The distractions aren't working anymore, and for the first time, she lets herself replay the moment she tried so hard to forget. The way you stayed calm when she tested you, the way you remained patient when she pushed you away, the way you brought steadiness when she brought storms. She remembers the man who didn't fold under pressure, who didn't lash back, who didn't lose himself trying to love her. That memory hits harder now, because she contrasts it with the emptiness she feels. The silence you've chosen, the peace you've built, the absence she can't fill. A thought rises in her chest, one she's terrified to speak out loud. I pushed away a man who never stopped showing up for me. And with that realization comes the conflict she's been dreading. She wants to reach out, her fingers even hover over your name, but fear traps her in place. Fear of rejection, fear that you won't respond, fear that you've outgrown the version of herself she can't defend anymore. This is the first night she's not afraid of losing you. She's afraid of your answer. Her certainty shatters. The confidence she once wore like armor collapses under its own illusion. Her ego, the same ego that told her you'd always chase, begins to shake under the weight of accountability, and every second of your silence becomes a mirror she can no longer hide from. Not coldness, not punishment, just the quiet truth that you chose dignity over desperation. And here, in this raw, unguarded moment, the deepest truth finally lands. She didn't lose a man. She lost the one man who refused to lose himself for her. That realization isn't just painful, it's transformative, and it sets the stage for what happens next, when missing you becomes something she can no longer contain. 10. The day your silence becomes your victory. Brother, the greatest victory isn't making her regret losing you. It's becoming the man who no longer needs her to come back. That's the twist life gives to the men who choose discipline over desperation. In the beginning, your silence wasn't strength, it was survival. It was you holding yourself together when everything inside you wanted to reach out, explain, fix or fight for something that was slipping through your hands. It was a shield you lifted because the pain was too sharp, too real, too exhausting to keep bleeding into. But over time, something shifts, and it shifts in you, not in her. Your focus changes, your posture straightens, your breath deepens again. The world stops feeling like it's caving in, and your peace quietly returns. You start rediscovering your worth, not the worth she affirmed, not the worth she withdrew, but the worth that comes from your own reflection, your own growth, your own discipline. You stop missing the chaos and start valuing the calm. You stop replaying the past and start investing in the man you're becoming. Meanwhile, whether she admits it or not, she finally sees what she lost. The rare calm she once depended on without noticing. The steady presence she assumed would always be available. The quiet strength she mistook for clinginess, softness, or weakness. And the cruel part for her, but the liberating part for you, is that she sees all this at the exact moment you no longer need her validation to feel whole. She watches your life move forward, not angrily, not loudly, not with forced confidence, but with a peace that proves you've healed. And that peace wounds her pride deeper than any cold reply or long message ever could. It shows her the truth she never wanted to face. The man she thought she could walk away from has become someone she can't easily reach anymore. Your silence stops being a tactic and becomes identity. It reflects the man you've grown into, self-possessed, centered, steady. A man who chooses himself first, not out of bitterness, but out of clarity, and clarity is something no one can take from you once you've earned it. And brother, this is the day she misses you for real, not because you disappeared, but because you evolved. She doesn't just miss your attention, she misses the man who once waited, the man who once hoped, the man who once would have done anything for her. Because now that man has transformed, and the version of you she once took for granted is now the version she no longer has access to. This is your victory, not over her, over yourself. Brother, if you're still here, that already tells me something powerful about you. You're not listening because you're weak or because you want someone to hurt. You're here because you're rebuilding, because a part of you finally understands. Your life cannot be defined by who stays, who leaves, or who wakes up too late to value you. Remember this, brother. Her missing you is not the victory. You remembering yourself is. Her silence is a path she has to walk alone. Your growth is the one you must protect with everything you have. Don't run back to old patterns that once broke you. Don't sacrifice your peace for someone who only recognized your value after you stopped handing it out for free. And never forget, the man who can walk away with dignity will always go further than the man who chases validation. If this message reached you today, like this video to anchor that strength into your mind. Subscribe to Stoic Station so you never drift back into the man you're outgrowing. And in the comments, brother, tell me one thing you're leaving behind after today. Is it the anxiety, the overthinking, the version of you who kept giving without being met? Whatever it is, say it, claim it, release it. Your clarity, your self-respect, your forward motion, that's the real story now. Stay silent when silence protects your soul. Stay grounded when the world tries to shake your foundation. And keep walking your path with calm, unshakable presence. This is Stoic Station. Your journey continues in the next video.